Have you ever wanted to make a decision and then immediately thought, what will they think? Maybe you wanted to leave a job, maybe change your career, maybe you wanted to move to another city, and maybe you wanted to start something that your family doesn't really understand, and you know you wanted that. But then you start explaining your decisions to everybody, everyone around. You ask your friends, you ask your family, you ask someone you trust, and suddenly the decision that was very clear in your head, in your mind, it just becomes confusing. Why? Because somewhere along the way, we stopped asking, what do I want? And started asking, what will make other people okay with what I want? And that's where validation becomes a problem. Not because wanting approval is wrong, but because sometimes we don't use other people's opinion to help us make decisions. We use them to give ourselves permissions to live. And why do we care so much? So here is the thing. There's actually a very human reason for this. Because we are social beings, we care about belonging, and we care about acceptance. We care about what people choose to think who are close to us. And there's nothing unhealthy about it. Because Richard Ryan, a psychologist, and his partner Edward Deci, through self-determination theory, they have spent decades studying what human beings need to function well. And one of those needs is relatedness. The feeling that we belong, that we are connected, that we matter to other people. So when somebody we love disagrees with us, it can hurt. When our parents don't understand our decision, it can hurt. When a friend doesn't support something important to us, it can hurt. And that's absolutely normal. But here's where we need to be very careful about. There is a difference between I want to understand me and I need you to agree with me before I can make a move forward. These are two different things. The first one is connection, and the second one is dependence. Let's think about someone who has spent 5 years working in a career that looks very good and amazing on paper. Amazing on paper. Good salary, good title, a good company. Their parents are proud, their friends think they have made it in life. But look at him. Every Sunday evening, he feels miserable thinking about Monday. Eventually, he realizes, I don't want to do this anymore. So he thinks about changing career. But then the question starts loitering in his head. What will my parents say? What will my friends think about me? People will think I failed. I've already spent 5 years doing this. What if everyone thinks I'm making a stupid decision? And now, notice what's happening. The people isn't only trying to decide what career should I choose, they are also trying to protect themselves from other people's reaction. And that second problem can become bigger than the first. So they stay. Not because he wants the life, but because he don't want to deal with the judgment that might come with changing it. And years later, he might realize something uncomfortable. He didn't choose the life they wanted. He chose the life that was easiest to explain to everyone else. This is why validation can become so powerful. When somebody says, "You're doing the right thing," we feel relief. When someone says, "I am proud of you," we feel assured. In fact, reassured. When someone says, "I understand," we feel safe. And those feelings matter. But if we constantly need those feelings before we act, we slowly lose something. And our ability to trust our own judgment. And that is where autonomy becomes important. Autonomy doesn't mean I don't care what anybody thinks. It's not maturity. That's sometimes just defensiveness. Autonomy means I can listen to what you think without making your opinion responsible for my decision. You can ask your parents for advices, your partner for their perspective. You can listen to your friends. You can take criticism seriously. But at the end of the conversation, you still have to ask, what do I believe is right for my life? So how do I go about this one? I follow 3 things. Before making an important decision, ask yourself, if nobody knew about this decision, what would I choose? Not because other people's opinion doesn't matter, but because the question removes the audience for a moment. It helps you hear yourself. Second, when somebody disagrees with you, don't immediately ask, how do I make them understand? Ask, is there something useful in what they are saying? And maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. Take the information and leave the emotional weight. Someone can disagree with you and still be wrong about you. Third, practice making small decisions without asking everybody. What should I wear? What should I take? Should I take this opportunity? Should I go to this event? Should I say no? Should I try this? You don't need a committee for every decisions you want to make in your life. Because confidence does not come from always knowing that you will make the right decision. It also comes from knowing if I make a wrong decision, I can deal with it. That's very different kind of confidence. And maybe that's the real problem with validation. We think we are looking for people to tell us, you're good enough. You're good enough. But sometimes what we really are looking for is a permission. Permission to change, to disappoint someone, to try something new, to be different. Permission to live permission to live a life that doesn't make sense to anyone. And you don't have to stop caring about people there. You don't have to become somebody who says, I don't care what anybody thinks. Of course, care, listen, learn, but don't hand everybody the steering of your life. Because at the end of your life, the people who judged you, your decisions, won't have to live with them. You will. So maybe the question isn't, does everyone approve of the life I'm choosing? Maybe it's simply, if nobody approved, would I still believe this life was worth living? Because that's where your answers begin to come, and it becomes yours.